shown you a snippet of what we've been doing. Of course, I showed that because I would like to show our guests from Nanyang Polytechnic and Temasek Foundation what we have done through the program that they had extended to us. And that's similar to the one where you are now undertaking through the Talino program. The DOST have been doing a lot of programs and projects relative to facilitating academic institutions, industries, and we at the DOST, aside from the usual gamut of projects that we've been implementing, also embarked on the Science for Change program. Why? Because as part of the innovation strategy of the government, we have tried to analyze how the Philippines had been doing when it comes to the Global Innovation Index. And I'm very happy to inform you that the Philippines has been slowly but steadily improving its innovation index ranking. From 2014, out of the 143 countries, we were number 100. And by 2018, we are now number 73. And if you would focus your attention on the screen, you would notice that our strengths are in the graduates in science and engineering, where we are number 17, and research talent, number 7. Diba? Maganda na may performance natin. Magagaling ang mga Pinoy. But if you would look at the weaknesses, our gross expenditure in R&D is number 97. Global R&D companies are likewise number 40, and scientific and technical articles are number 120. So probably this is where academic institutions like yours would come in. It's like this. Looking at the R&D budget, next slide please. Looking at the R&D budget, you would notice that although the DOST had been receiving more than 7 billion pesos in R&D budget, which I believe it's around 33% of the whole department's budget, we are just 0.6% of our GAA when it comes to R&D spending. Next slide, please. In pursuance of the ambition natin 2040, which I believe all the government agencies had been doing, the DOST crafted the science for the people approach in supporting this endeavor. That's why we had the harmonized R&D agenda, which of course focused on the agriculture, aquatic and natural resources, health, industry, energy and emerging technology researches, disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation, and the National Integrated Basic Research Agenda. Next slide, please. Okay. Sorry. So, sorry. Just a little technical glitch. Okay. For the Science for Change program, the DOST expanded the coverage of the research activities that it had been doing. From the previous gamut of programs, we now have included artificial intelligence, from HRD to R&D industry, human security, strengthening of R&D and S&T services in the regions, S&T for creative industries, tourism and industry, and space technology and ICT development. I believe all of us knows that the Philippine Space Agency had recently been approved, and the Philippines is so bullish in pushing for space technologies in improving the economy. Next slide, please. Okay. For the accelerated R&D program for capacity building of research and development institutions, the DOST crafted 4 programs: the NICER, the RD Lead, Cradle, and BIST. These are programs that aims to capacitate industries in making them competitive in the world arena. And of course, at the center of that would be the participation of academic institutions. Next slide, please. For the nicer or niche centers in the regions for R&D, DOST had been establishing R&D institutions in the regions. And these R&D institutions are also open to the other academic institutions such as special science high schools in the Philippine Science High School system. This is where your students could work on their researches, and they would be very much welcome because we would ensure that the beneficiary universities would allow you to do so. Next slide, please. For the RD Lead program, I would skip the NICER and the others because the RD Lead is the one that would allow or capacitate academic institutions in crafting programs and projects that would lead to the development of their R&D capabilities. Meaning, in order for DOST to provide funds for the establishment of research centers, DOST would likewise spend for the help of experts in making these academic institutions prepare the necessary proposals and programs and plans for the establishment of R&D centers in the regions. Next slide, please. We also have under the S4C program the CRADLE or Collaborative Research and Development to Leverage Philippine Economy. What is this? This is a window where an industry partner could identify specific problems that they are encountering and submit this issue or need on academic institutions who would then submit proposals to the DOST for funding such that the academic institution could pursue research towards developing technologies that would solve such problems of the industry. That would allow for the industry partner to have at their disposal technologies that could help them compete in the world market. Next slide, please. The CRADLE proposal has maximum funding of 5 million, partner companies, etc., etc. I will not discuss so much on that. Next slide, please. The CRADLE program had so far benefited some academic institutions and industry partners in the different regions. Sample projects are micropropagation of selected genetically verified superior bamboo species, production of food-grade, pharmaceutical-grade, and polymer-grade lactic acid, and so on and so forth. Next slide, please. For the food industry, we also have the development of probiotics, biochemical profiling, wastewater treatment. These are all in support of the industries. Next slide, please. A very important factor would be ICT and electronics, where DOST and academic partners also develop technologies that would help industry partners survive the competition. Next slide, please. These are the requirements that must be submitted, but you could also access that through the DOST website. Next slide, please. The fourth and last component of the Science for Change program is the Business Innovation through S&T for Industry. And this is a window where the DOST would provide funding mechanism for the businesses or the industries to acquire technologies that could help pump prime their activities. Next slide, please. The acquisition of technology could be in the form of acquiring know-how, rights, blueprints of a registered intellectual property, via licensing of technology, purchase of technology, acquisition of hardware, software for R&D, and so on and so forth. Next slide, please. The BIST, of course, would benefit Filipino-owned companies. Next slide, please. Funding mechanism. Next slide, please. Funding infrastructure, of course, there would be counterpart funding by the applicant to the tune of 30%, but DOST would provide 70% of the funding requirement of the industry. Next slide, please. Of course, the general criteria, you can also look at that website. Next slide, please. The forms that must be submitted. Next slide, please. This one, the last slide would be a sample of R&D project funded through the BIST, or this one is the medical implant access knee system. I believe you have heard this. I believe you have seen this from the newspapers, and these are but some of the products of partnerships between academe, industry, and the government. But more importantly, what I would like you to know is that DOST had been very bullish in its aim of capacitating the industries through partnerships with local government units and academic institutions. So far, the DOST has been funding state universities and colleges and private higher education institutions through the different consortia in the regions. But that does not stop the DOST from likewise extending support to secondary special science high schools. I believe in partnership with DTI, CAB labs have been established in Philippine Science High School campuses, and this is where new and emerging technologies are developed, which are then extended to the industries through the technology transfer law mechanisms. You can all access that. The thing is, some secondary educational institutions are not so aware of these programs that sometimes they skip looking at DOST as a prospective partner. But those of you who know, marami pong lumalapit sa amin. In fact, even for technical consultancy services, DOST is a channel of support for your institutions. Would you believe that under the One Expert program of the DOST, we had been receiving requests for assistance on technical consultants even from secondary school students. They've been requesting us experts on extraction of this and that, phytochemical screening, so on and so forth. And the DOST has been extending this because the One Expert program is a volunteer-based program of the DOST that extends technical consultancy services. Likewise, DOST operates regional science and S&T standards laboratories in the 17 areas of the country. Most of your students who have been doing investigatory projects have been approaching the DOST, regional laboratories, in the conduct of researches, conduct of investigatory projects. And when I was still Assistant Regional Director, some of those competing in the Intel Science Fair likewise request us to critique their presentations. Ganun po kalaki ang role na ginagampanan ng DOST towards assisting your students. And there's no reason why your faculty members, your teachers, should not do the same. DOST, the regional offices, the central office, the R&D institutions under the DOST umbrella can and will assist you with respect to these technical competency upgrading requirements. So please do not hesitate to approach the regional offices. We likewise have provincial science and technology centers all over the country which could help you with respect to your needs. The thing is, you have to believe in the DOST. Like what former DOST Secretary Montejo always says, believe in science. Science works. Thank you very much. Good morning.